Hello and welcome. This will be another hacking quiz. You guys seemed to love it last time, so let's continue. The game is, I show you a picture, you tell me how to hack it, and if you don't know, I will tell you. Let's get started. Number 1. So we have a Nmap scan right here, and I wanted to ask you, what here is interesting? What do you find interesting in the scan, if anything? Well, again, this is a common occurrence, but we immediately see port 88, which immediately means that this is the main controller. We can see SMB being open, right, 445, 139. We see DNS 53, RPC on 135. We see K-Passer, which is Kerberoasting related thing, basically never interesting. And then we see LDAP on 389, 626, 3268, 3269. And then we also see RDP as well, which I think is very interesting, right? So basically 2 interesting things. Default ports, but RDP is open, that's nice. And then we also see that this is the domain controller, right? Because we see port 88. Let's continue. So what about this output? What are we doing right here, and is any of this interesting? What do you think? I would say yes, right? We are obviously doing CTF in this scenario, so we can see that there is a happy little flag right here. But what we're actually doing right here is that we are checking the user profile of our current user, right? And then we are taking a look at the PowerShell history, basically. So this is all the history of different commands that's been typed in PowerShell. And sometimes you're able to find very interesting things in here, right? So if you don't have checking PowerShell history as a part of your methodology for Windows Prevesk, I definitely suggest that you add it. But yeah, that's pretty much here. This is important to do. It can be easy to forget. Let's continue. So what do you think in this scenario? What are we doing right here? Is any of this interesting? What do you think? Yes or no? If your answer was that we're performing Kerberoasting, then you would be absolutely correct. We can see right here that Rubius tells us total Kerberoastable users right here. We're also specifying the Rubius and a Kerberoast command line right here, and we're outputting it into the happy hashes txt file. So yeah, we can see that it's also written the hashes to this path right here. So yeah. That is pretty nice. So let's continue. We can see that the hashes has been put into this file right here, and then we can see that I'm also copying the hashes to the TS client. This is just a basically SMB share that I have put with X3 RDP, but it's basically just an SMB share because I want to transfer the files over to my Kali. So the question is now, what do we do with this, right? Like, what's our next plan of attack after we perform this Kerberoasting attack? What do you think? If you answered to use John to essentially find the password and crack it, then you would be absolutely correct. We can see right here that it finds Ruben F124, which is obviously a part of this word list right here, which is why we're able to find it and actually get use out of this Kerberoast hash. So yeah, a lot of Active Directory is revolves around credentials of sorts, and there are only some hash forms or hash types that actually are useful directly, right? It's possible to relay hashes using until I'm relaying attacks. It's possible to do pass the hash and different pass the hash techniques over different protocols, but then you would need something like an MTLM hash, right? Or an MT hash. But something like a Kerberoast hash is not directly usable, so our only real option is to either manage to find a password in the hash, or it's going to be completely useless, right? So let's continue. So that's important. And yes, I recommend using RawQ to begin with, but You can try like 2 to 3 more word lists in SecList. They have some good list. I have linked lists in the course we have as well. But yeah, after you've tried like 2 to 3, max 4, there's really no point in continuing, right? Because it's going to be a rabbit hole and you don't want to waste too much time on rabbit holes, right? Let's continue. So we can see that I am running invoke all checks using the power up tool right here. And we can see that it gives the following outputs. Now, this output is not beautiful. I probably could pipe it into pipefl format list to be able to get more information, quite possibly, but we can see this information nevertheless. Does any of this look interesting to you or potentially abusable, or what do you think? In this scenario, 100% yes, right? We have several attacks at our disposal, and I would argue that it's not even an attack. We are a part of the local group with admin privileges, right? So we are part of the local admin group right here. And we can also see, based on a screenshot, that we have RDP access to the machine. So in terms of having to perform any type of USC bypass, right? We can even check in my notes right here, like USC bypass. I have a few things listed under here, like GUI-based UC bypasses. And yes, I have several things for UC bypasses, of course. But there's not even like in a point in doing any of this, right? Because like the simplest form of you can literally just open up PowerShell, right click, run as admin. Like we are part of the admin group. So you can literally just open up a PowerShell admin prompt, right? USC bypass is basically almost only interesting if we don't have GUI access, right? So if you have to perform something like FOD helper or event view, right? These are classic USC bypass techniques. There's also the binaries as well that can help you do it, but something like event view and FOD helper are classics. And this is if we don't have access to a GUI, right? Because then it's actually useful. But yeah, in this scenario, we can literally just open up a PowerShell admin prompt and GG from there, right? Then we basically have admin. So yeah. So, and also unattended install files can also be super interesting as well. There are some paths you can find, and yes, this can definitely be abused. But yeah, we are a part of the admin group, so it's there's no need to be fancy. In this scenario, we are essentially performing. We can use this tool with pass the hash as well. We can use a hash to authenticate as well. This is over the SMB protocol, I believe. And yeah, with the unattended file we used in this scenario, we found this credential set right here, and then we're authenticating against the domain controller, right? Because once again, we see port 88 being open, so we know that this is a domain controller. And yeah, we now have anti-authority system because that's what psexec does if you actually manage to get a shell. And this is beautiful. So from here we can do whatever, right? We can do dumping anti-REST hashes. We can really do whatever we want and move to whichever host we want in the possible Active Directory domain, right? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little quiz. Hope you learned something new. And if you find this video useful, then you're absolutely gonna love this. We have a massive, free-to-try, 25-hour plus OSCP course that you can see that people are just absolutely loving. That inside gives you all of the resources that you need to crush the OSCP. We have a massive roadmap that literally covers everything. We cover initial access, privilege escalation, Windows and Linux. We cover Active Directory. We cover post-exploitation. We cover lateral movement. We cover pivoting, tunneling. We cover the exam. We cover the reporting. We cover all of the attacks that you need and all of the techniques that you need for OSCP. We also cover all the rooms that you need to do, and all of the rooms is linked inside. We cover Active Directory chains as well, and we literally cover everything. And you will instantly get all of these resources once you join. So click the link down below, try it completely for free. I'll see you inside.